welcome to Leafwood Learning. Today's art lesson is going to be focusing on Native American rock art. So for today's lesson, we're going to need watercolors, water, oil pastels, and white paper. Mixed media usually works the best, something that's got some thickness to it so it can hold the water. I also recommend printing off the picture dictionary. The link is down below, or you can just pull it up when you need some ideas as well. Today's lesson has a lot of free thinking and lots of your own choices, as you can tell from my examples down below from 4 different artists. The outcome is going to be different just depending on what story you want to tell with your art. So let's get started. I'll leave this one here. This is the one that I did. You can see mine's very simple, where my former students made some very complicated stories, right? But I like to keep it simple for you guys so you can make your own spin on it. So paper orientation. It's going to be up to you. You can either make it landscape or portrait. This one was landscape, so I'll make this one portrait. So the first thing we need is our oil pastels. Now for color, it's going to be up to you. You get to choose the palette here, okay? Do you want to use cool colors, warm colors, a mixture, make it more monotone? It's going to be up to you and whatever kind of story that you're trying to tell. So the first thing I'm going to think about is I'm going to look at my picture dictionary here, which is just like a generic interpretation of some of the Native American symbols that are seen on caves and rocks in the United States, and the different symbols and possibly, some of the meanings behind them. So you can see that my art that I did here, pretty easy to interpret from the picture dictionary that we have. We've got somebody here, it's obviously a human, right? And he's dancing. And he's dancing because he's happy, right? Because there's peace. I thought that was a good message. Nice, simple story, right? Something we'd all want to see. So I'm going to do something a little bit different for this one. You're welcome to do exactly what I do if you want, or make it your own and make your own story as well. So you can just kind of follow along, but use your own symbols, your own colors, things like that. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a color. I can't help it. I always kind of go with my favorite color first. Purple's my favorite. I usually like to make happy stories. So here we go. So I'm going to take my favorite color, which is purple. And I think what I will do is I'm going to draw, well, I can't help it. I love the sun. So I'm going to draw the sun, and I'm going to draw it right in the middle. So I'm going to look at my picture dictionary and draw the sun. And I'm going to press real hard so that my oil pastel really sticks to my paper. If you press it light, when we get to the next step of laying down the watercolor, the oil pastel might not repel the water in the watercolor quite as well. So you want to make sure that you really press hard when using oil pastels in this manner. Here we go. I'm making my sun rays. Kind of like that I made a purple sun. Most people would go with red or orange or yellow, but one thing I love about art, you can be as creative as you want, and it's yours. And again, I'm going back over my lines. I like to make my colors very vibrant. And feel free to mix up. Just because I did a purple sun doesn't mean that you have to keep your one picture just in purple. So let's say you wanted to put some blue rays in your sun too, you could. I'm definitely making this one my own. Okay, I got my sun. Let's see, what else is going to happen with my story? So I've got the sun out, and am I going to be happy or sad? Well, I can't help it. I'm a happy person, so I'm going to draw a happy symbol. I did purple. I'm going to do orange. I'm very happy because the sun is out. And the sun is out today too, so I'm extra happy. I'm going to make an extra happy symbol. Just broke my oil pastel. Oh well, moving on. So the happy symbol is right up here. So we've got a circle with a larger circle, and then we've got 2 lines up, 2 lines to the left, 2 lines down, 2 lines to the right. Go ahead and do that. I'm happy because of the sun. I wonder if there's any more to this story. You guys, I'm making this up as we go along. Again, I'm going over my lines again. Just so I have very vibrant colors. Those oil pastels are really in there. Okay, so I'm happy. The sun is out. And guess what? There are so many fish. So I know I'm gonna eat well tonight. I just had fish last night for dinner and it was so good. Oh my. All right, what color should I use? I've used purple and blue and orange. I'm gonna go yellow. I like to give variety here. And I'm looking at the space on my paper and I'm looking at my negative space and I want to be able to put my fish somewhere. Where do I want to balance it? I think I'm going to actually do 2 fish because I have so many fish. I'm going to go ahead and put them up here. Again, I'm making this up as I go. Which, you know, creativity hits sometimes and you have to just go with it. So there's 1 fish and then here's my other fish. And I'm so happy, right? Because I made such a big happy sign here. So my fish have to be many fish. Like these are like little exclamation points. Whoa, that oil pastel got away from me. I know sometimes people don't like it when your oil pastels kind of mix. Like I have kind of dirty oil pastels. But I love the marbling that it does. I can't help it. All right. Oh, wait, it kind of looks like a person. Oh, well, I'm going with it. All right, so once you have laid down your story with your oil pastels, you can pause it here if you're still working on your story for our next steps. You don't need this anymore. Or that. Okay, so the next step is we're going to get our watercolors out, okay? And again, this is going to be up to you, the artist, on how you want to lay down this background. So if it was a rock, it would be like browns and reds and oranges and yellows in the background, which is great. If that's what you want to do, you want to make it look like a rock, then you should absolutely do that. This is your piece of art. I am going to go more colorful. So you can see with this one that I finished for, maybe let me pull up one like this one as well. Each picture that we chose, each symbol, has a different color, so it kind of makes it stand out a little bit. We want to draw attention to the symbols that we drew so that we can remember the story that we are making. So happy here, this is her, she was happy and she did red and she did a complementary color of green in the background, right? I think she kind of stuck with that. So you want to choose a color for the background of that symbol that's going to allow that symbol to pop up off the page and not get washed away, right? So if I've got yellow many fish up here at the top, I'm not going to choose yellow because then it's going to not stand out, right? So I want to choose a color that's really going to allow the fish to be seen. So I don't know if this is generic, but I'm going to go blue, right? Fish, water, that's just what came to me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to, I like to really make sure my paintbrush is wet. Add a little bit of water to my blue and I'm going to test it. Oh, yep, looks great. Now I paint on my paint bench here, so I can just go right off the page and not worry about it. Now if you want more of a vibrant blue, you're going to add more paint to that paintbrush and you get a darker blue. And I'm just going to do it like haphazard, not going to worry about staying in any lines. Just going to paint right on over those fish. And I'm not going to make it like a definite line, right? I might come into my sun here a little bit. All right, so for my sun, I'm going to switch colors. And I'm watering my paintbrush. Oh, what would be a good color here? I think I'm going to go yellow, because here's why. Yellow is going to make the purple stand out, and then if it bleeds into the blue, it's going to cause a little bit of a green, and I kind of like that idea of like it's going to go into a greenish color. So I'm going to go into my yellow, I'm going to wet it, and I'm being deliberate with my choices of color, right? You see how it kind of made it green? That's kind of, yeah, you can kind of see it. Art always looks so different in person, right? If you were here painting with me, it would pop a lot more. You would really be able to see the bleeding of the green from the yellow into the blue. Now this one I'm going to kind of bring my yellow down to a diagonal, just because I feel it. And that's enough of a reason for me. And I'm kind of smearing that line between where the yellow and the blue, right? So it's more of a gradual. I'm using like a fairly fluffy, it's a size 12 paintbrush for those of you that are wondering. Yes, paintbrushes have sizes and you use different ones for different mediums and papers. Okay, I think that looks good. So now I've got one more. I've got blue and yellow. What color should I do down there? I'm thinking either red or purple, right? You could, if you want to, just keep bringing the yellow down. Oh man, I'm a little bit torn. So I'm gonna go red, but I'm gonna do it like a light red. And what overrode me here was the red and the yellow is gonna create an orange. I'm wondering if I'm gonna regret this. Oh well, it's only one way to know. One way to know, and that is to do it. Here we go. Well, I'm not regretting it yet. You know, if you ever are doing watercolor and you pick a color that you're like, oh, this does not look good. If you're quick about it, you can take a paper towel or some type of, like rag or cloth, and you can soften up the color pretty fast and you might be able to remedy it. I've had to do that a couple times. Oh, what was I thinking? Color's terrible. But I think that looks pretty good. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I like it. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and mush a little corner here, like a point where they all kind of come together, where the story combines. Ooh, I like this. Okay, next step, you gotta wait for it to dry. Okay, so once your piece of art has dried, this is an optional step. However, I think it really brings something to the final piece. So you can kind of tell this piece is a final and this is the one that does not have the last step. So this one just has like more dimension to me. But if you're happy with this, then well done, way to go. But here's the last step. I kind of like the idea of adding like a little bit more oil pastel to define the different areas or spaces, like wherever you want to put it. Okay, so you choose a color, like for the blue section and the yellow section, I'm gonna put some oil pastel down and then I'm gonna use my finger, or if that is too messy for you, you can always use like tissue or paper towel to smear it. Okay, so I'm going to choose a color, one or two, doesn't matter. I'm going to choose like a blue or a green right here for this edge. I'm going to go green, can't help it. And I'm just going to, haphazard. Don't worry about any of the pastel effect. That if you go over any, it's fine. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of make a line between the two areas where the different colors of the watercolors are. And I'm going to use my finger because I don't mind getting messy. It doesn't bother me. I kind of think the messier I get sometimes, the better my art becomes. And I'm just going to kind of smear that oil pastel in between the two colors that I laid down as a background. Just to give it just like a little bit more dimension. With art, when I'm approaching a piece of art, whether it be just for fun or a lesson or, it's a piece that I'm gonna show the world or whatever, I don't just sit down in one sitting or one place and try to finish it, right? It's a step, it's a process. So don't rush yourself. And like if you want to add more than one color right there, then you're going to add more than one color. Play with it. That's the freedom of being an artist, is that you can experiment, right? So I actually kind of like it, just that one. But you know, here's an idea of like experimenting. You could add like a little bit of yellow in some of the spots, right? To give it just some different pop, right? You can see it's like just a little bit different. Okay, so that's one section. Here's another. So between here and here, a yellow or an orange. I'm gonna do a yellowish orange. I just happen to have it. So, and again, I'm not being too worried about it being straight or where it's lying or even. Actually, I would say the less even, the better. You know, just be free. Just be free. Right? So I did it. I'm gonna keep that handy just in case. And then again, if you're gonna smear it with those same fingers, I'm just gonna give you a little tidbit here. Try to get the last color off before you do it. Otherwise you're gonna get like a brownish color. And I'm just gonna use my finger. Here we go. Kind of going with the direction that I colored with the oil pastel to keep that symmetry. Ooh, I like this. This is coming out pretty neat. Going with two fingers now. Go. Into, ooh, blue smears. I'm envisioning, I read this children's book about, you know, the first drawings. And it was, you know, a fiction book based on like, you know, how maybe the first cave drawings were. No, this was cave people, not Native Americans, but, you know, but how they came about and the use of the fire and the charcoal from the fire. And I know when I'm camping, I like to get some of those, you know, burn the sticks and then draw with it. It kind of reminds me of it. I know it's an oil pastel, but brings me back. Ooh, does that look good? Oh, I like this. This one, I think I might like this one better than the one that I did by myself. Does it need anything else? I'm gonna shake off those. So, oil pastels can get a little crummy. I'm gonna add just a little bit of red. Should I go dark or let me do this one? This is gonna be bright though. Red is a power color. So you see how like I'm just kind of playing with the colors, and what a difference it brings to my art when I take the time to do just like some final steps. This is it turned out like very rainbow, right? Which, hey, I am a fan of rainbows. Don't get me wrong. It's funny how my mind went there. I wonder if the Native Americans, you know, thousands of years ago when they were making the rock art, they didn't have access to this. But I wonder what kind of colors they would have put in their art on the walls to tell the stories. Because you know, I teach about how colors give emotions, so I wonder if that would have made a difference. Alright, so that is the final step for me. I finished mine. I actually, if I was to go back, I might add some over here. It's a little too much of a negative space over there for my liking, but I'm going to go with it. I like it. I think it looks good. And so I'm just going to be done with that. So the last step, of course, is you always got to sign your art. Find a spot and sign your art, or date it too if you like to date your art, but definitely sign it. Always sign your art. And that's it. So thank you for joining me for this Chumash rock art lesson. Enjoy and keep creating. Thanks so much. Till next time. Bye.